Takulandirani ku AMTV Malawi kuchimake kwa nkhani zenizeni. Ngati nkhani imeneyo kuno kulibe, dziwani kuti nkhani imeneyo ndi yabodza.
Thank you so much, colleagues. You may take your seats. Honour members and colleagues from Public Service Pension Trust Fund, I would like to welcome you to this afternoon session. For the sake of a few basic things, all those who are coming because of hierarchy in their institution, we're referring them to as controlling officers, but in this case, because of an acting senior person who is not attending, will not address you as such, will address you basing on your positions in your institution. So proceed in this way. We'll have introductions from honour members, then Secretariat, media, and yourselves. But I would like to personally make you feel comfortable and feel free to engage with your committee. You have been asked to appear before the committee because of an inquiry of the proposed acquisition of Amaris Hotel by Public Service Pension Trust Fund. Be assured that it's just an engagement, that we get to know what actually happened, how it happened, the role that Secretariat played. But because we know the nation to get what actually happened in actual context, be assured that what we've decided as a committee, as per the standing order, you take an oath. Everyone who is going to contribute to this discussion shall take an oath. So after that, we'll get into serious discussions. Whenever you feel that, no, this we can't take, you're free not to, and we'll respect your decision. I would like to bring to your attention that whatever we're discussing is being recorded. So in the event that you're responding, make sure you switch on your mic so that you can be recorded. When you're done, you switch off. So you may know some of the honored members by name, but for the sake of these deliberations, honored members are here on behalf of their constituencies and they're just performing their oversight role. To that effect, I would like to request you that whenever you're responding to the queries from them, you address them based on the constituency they represent. So for example, Lilongwe Nyanja constituency, in that case, as per Lilongwe Nyanja, then you proceed in that manner. So we'll proceed in that way. Allow me also to notify you that these proceedings are live on Parliament TV or Parliament page. To that effect, you may consider your selection of words going forward. Honourable members, can we introduce ourselves? From my far right.
Thank you so much, Honourable Chairperson. I am Gerard Kapisen Piri from the people of Salima Central.
Chair, I'm Amarylis Mampala, Member of Parliament for Balaka Mulunguzi.
Chair, through you, this is Young Peel, Lilongwe East. Thank you so much.
Chair, and all my seniors, I'm Patricia Galiad, Mulanje West.
Through you, Chairperson, good afternoon. Representing the people of Mulanje Southeast constituency, Buka Matemvu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Through you, Temba Nkandawire, Member of Parliament for Blantyre City, Chichiri Misesa.
Good
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson. My name is Santiago Piri, representing the people of Mulanje South constituency. Thank you.
Afternoon, Chair. My name is Macpherson Mwaindalama, representing the good people of Chiladzulu Nyungwi. Let me also declare interest. I was once in the same high school as two of the members here. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chairperson, good afternoon. My name is Joe Francewa, MP for Chikwawa North. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Winston Gabanchira, Member of Parliament for Lilongwe, Chiwamba. Thank you.
Afternoon, Chair. My name is Lawrence Chakakala Jazia, Lilongwe Chirobwe constituency.
And my name is Best Ben, our Member of Parliament for Zomba City North.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Gerard Tasaukadala, representing the people of Blantyre Central constituency. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Ivua Kaunda, MP for Nkatabe Central. Thank you, sir.
And I'm Amina Gajia, representing Zomba Sondoli. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, my name is Noel Olipipa, Member of Parliament for Blantyre City, Chiromoni, Kabula, Nancholi constituency.
Good afternoon. My name is Susan Dawson, Member of Parliament for Chikwawa West. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Feliciani Banet Nyondo, representing the great people of Chitiba Central constituency. Thank you.
Through Honorable Chairperson, my name is Frederick Amane. I'm the Chief Clerk Assistant, Committees.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson. My name is Sangani Piri, Chief Economist. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, I'm Judith Sikalokakalea, Parliament Secretariat. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Tile Likoma, Legal Services. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson. I'm Mwera Fiona Matenje, Legal Services.
Honorable Chairperson, I'm Nelly Carter, Clerk to the Committee.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Tulinje Muluzi, Member of Parliament for Machingali Gwenu, and I'm the Vice Chairperson for Public Accounts. Thank you. Honourable members and colleagues from Pension Fund, my name is Stephen Baba Malondera Kansiamo. I'm the Chairperson of Public Accounts Committee and a Member of Parliament for Lilongwe Nyanja constituency. To this effect, allow me to request media which is here to introduce yourselves. Media.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Amigo Mbuzi from Koma FM.
Afternoon, Chair. Mary Jakaza, Nkoma FM.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Mirimo Chitsulo from Nation Publications Limited.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Austin Kadunga from Zarudian TV.
Afternoon, Chair. I'm Comfort Brangeted from Chisomo Radio Station.
Chair, my name is Innocent Manda from Malawi News Agency and the Ministry of Information. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Joyce Luan from Baga Community Radio.
Good afternoon, Chair. This is Thomas Kasia Piri from Mlimi Radio Ngodi Wautenga.
Thank you so much. And we go to colleagues or Secretariat from Pension, Public Service Pension Trust Fund.
Thank you, Chair, and the committee. My name is Charity Mpatso Gambarula Pili. I'm the Planning and Investment Manager for the Secretariat of the Fund. My colleagues will also introduce themselves.
Good afternoon, Chair and honorable members. I am Mary Ann Pango and I'm the Legal Services Manager for the Public Service Pension Trust Fund.
Good afternoon, Chair and honorable members. My name is Natasha Nkoma and I am the Assets and Investment Officer of the Public Service Pension Trust Fund. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair and honorable members.
My name is Stanley Ntambo. I'm a procurement and disposal officer for the fund. Thank you.
Thank you so much, colleagues. For the sake of everyone who is here, I would like us to proceed in this manner. You will proceed to take an oath, just to make sure that you're safe and the information is safe from this side. And at the same time, I want to put it on record that we have audios as well as other documents that are going to speak to our discussions. So be assured that we'll proceed in that manner and make sure that everything is safe. So on the issues that you are not comfortable to disclose, we would like to give you comfort that we also have other recordings, because we know we don't have a law protecting whistleblowers and whatnot. So everything is very safe. Be assured. As we get into, before we get into this substantive discussion, I would like to ask our Secretariat to administer an oath. I see a hand from Karabe Central.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to know, who are we dealing with? There's no controlling officer here. Who is in charge of the fund? Who is in charge of the Secretariat? Who are we going to deal with? Who is in charge? No, we can't be dealing with. Who is in control? Who is taking decisions there?
Controlling Nkatabe, can I have order members? Blanta Chilomon, can I have order? Nkatabe Central. On your behalf, I would like to withdraw the sentiments that you've made. We're not dealing with Anaokaoka here. We're dealing with people who are handling millions of pension funders. So that I'm going to withdraw on your behalf. Colleagues from Public Service Pension Trust Fund, be at peace. You are women of great reputation, graduates of various universities. We trust in you as Public Accounts Committee, and we would like to give you all the comfort that you're going to give this committee the best you can give. I would like also to commend that out of the 4 of you, I think 3 you can see that are women. That gives hope to girl children of this nation that they can get to highest position and contribute to the development of this country. You will proceed to take an oath. I see Mulanje West.
Thank you, Chair, and all my seniors. I would like to thank you in totality for withdrawing that statement. In fact, we know that this side, we sit all members of Parliament in this committee. And the media, they're there, and this side, they sit those whom we've invited. And there is no way that because there are those women, one can come in and say, whom are we dealing with? That's very sad and very absurd. That was
Mulanje West, can you turn down? Controlling officer is not here because of other things, but that's the more reason. At the beginning, I did indicate that I'm going to recognize them by their position at the offices. I did communicate that because I want to respect the structure of your institution as we get to substantive issues. So you proceed to take an oath. I would like to propose that all of you take an oath, because along the way we'll get to hear a few things from all of you, so that we have an informed decision. Secretariat, please proceed.
I, Charity Mphatso Gambadula Phiri, do solemnly swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I, Natasha Nkoma, do solemnly swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I, Mary Ann Kwelati Lumpango, do solemnly swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall provide shall be the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I, Daniel McCloud Tambo, do solemnly swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you so much for taking an oath. I should believe that the Planning and Investment Officer will give a synopsis, then we'll get into the substantive discussion. Are we proceeding that way?
Yes, we are just prepared a small presentation of who the fund is and the Secretariat before we proceeded to discussing the matter at hand.
Kindly proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair, and the committees. So I would like to briefly introduce the Public Service Pension Trust Fund and the Secretariat. I'll briefly mention what we do at the fund before I proceed to present the substantive matter. As you're aware, the Public Service Pension Trust Fund is a contributory pension fund for all public servants who were born on 1st January 1982 and thereafter, or newly recruited public servants from 1st July 2017, regardless of age. The fund was established to comply with the requirements of the Pensions Act, which mandates employers to have a pension fund for their employees. The fund has a board of trustees, 12 board of trustees, 6 from the employer side and 6 from the employee side, whose mandate is to manage the pension fund and benefit management, that is a benefit distribution to beneficiaries of members of the pension fund. The fund has 3 managers, Old Mutual Investment Group, Continental Asset Managers, and Nico Asset Management, and it also has Zamara as pension administrators, as well as Zamara actuaries who act as the actuary for the PSPTF. The fund also has custodial services from FTH Bank and CIC, who provides life insurance cover for its members. To facilitate day-to-day activities of the fund, there's a secretariat that is headed by the principal officer. It has various sections, the Planning and Investment Division, which reports to the principal officer. The mandate of the Planning and Investment Division is to prepare minutes for investment committee, review investment proposals that are submitted by investment managers, and make recommendations to the investment committee, review performance of investments and investment managers through monthly and quarterly reports that are submitted to the Secretariat, and also to monitor adherence to the fund's investment policy statement, RBM directives on investments, and overall objectives, investment objectives of the fund. And this section also implements board directives through the principal officer. We also act as a liaison or contact point between the investment managers and the board. So this section has the planning and investment manager and the asset and investment officer. The Secretariat also has the legal services manager who provides legal advice to the board and acts as company secretary from time to time. We have a human resource section, which has a senior human resource officer and a human resource and administration officer. We have the procurement and disposal officer, an accountant and assistant accountant, a public relations officer, an ICT officer, an internal audit officer, a benefits administration officer who facilitates administration of benefits to members and their beneficiaries, and they are also assistant benefits administration officers. We have an executive secretary, executive assistant, and one driver. So I also prepared briefly just to appraise the committee the status of the fund in terms of its investment. As at 31st January 2026, the fund's value was at 998 billion, with investments in government securities standing at 13.9%, equities 71.53%, fixed deposits at 3.35%, cash at 0.09%, corporate bonds 1.12%, private equity 3.25%, and property at 6.65%. Just to note that with the resources that have already been spent on the Amaris investments, we are roughly about, the investment roughly constitutes about 12.8% of the fund's value. Chair, I would like to then proceed to the matter at hand, if I'm allowed to do so.
Proceed.
Thank you. I'll start from the onset when NICO Asset Managers presented the investment to the Investment Committee at the 18th Extraordinary Investment Committee meeting. So they presented 3 investment opportunities. So there was one in Amaris Hotel Limited for the fund to take up to 100% equity with an indicative value of 47 billion. They also presented an opportunity in Select Financial Services Limited up to 49 equity with an indicative value of 11 billion, and an offer for a corporate bond for Select Financial Services for up to 2 billion. So after these presentations were made, the committee expressed interest in taking up Amaryllis and recommended that the other investments, the committee expressed no interest, so these fell off. And so after they expressed interest, it was communicated to NAM to proceed with valuations. So NAM wrote the fund requesting approval to proceed with 2 property valuations and a business valuation. So this was done. Preceding to those valuations, a site visit was undertaken by the Finance and Audit and Risk Committee and Investment Committee to appreciate the investment that was on offer. The 3 valuations established the following. Just giving you an overview of the investment. So the hotel was established in 2019 and is run by Yusuf Investment Limited. It has 8 stories, 91 rooms, conferencing facilities with an 800-seat capacity, a shopping mall with 17 outlets, a swimming pool, and restaurant. So as I indicated, Yusuf Investment was offering 100% ownership to new investors. I think they had indicated a value between 47 billion up to 48.7 billion. So in that, during the initial presentation, it was indicated that a special purpose vehicle was to be created under the name Amaris Hotel Limited. I'll move on to the valuations that were done, that were submitted by Garden City Properties, Knight Frank. Knight Frank indicated a total market value of 50.05 billion. Knight Frank indicated a market value of 48 billion. The business valuation that was done by FDH indicated a business between 26 to 35 billion with a net asset value of 50.30 billion. But they reported that industry comparisons revealed that the cost per square meter, which was 2 billion, was high, while revenue generation was low. But they had indicated that this could potentially be improved by shifting to a weight hotel business model. So after these were presented, subsequent meetings, the investment committee proceeded, advised the manager to proceed with the investment. In September, during the 9th extraordinary investment meeting, the manager recommended for the fund to acquire the hotel at less than 52 billion for less than 100% ownership in order to minimize single.
Can you hold? When you're mentioning the dates, kindly complete it. Is it in March 2021, September 2023? Is it 2020? So that you give us, the actual, because after 10, 20 years, those who are recording may not capture what you're thinking. And those who are to listen after 10, 15 years, they may not know the exact year when such things happened. So I would like to ask you, investment manager, to take those into consideration when you're giving us the dates. You may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So the ninth extraordinary meeting happened in September 2023. As I indicated, the manager had recommended that the fund acquire the hotel at less than 42 billion for less than 100% ownership in order to minimize single asset concentration. And they also recommended for the fund to have a strategic partnership with either Umodzi or Sunbed, which at that time it was reported that they had indicated interest. This recommendation was upon commissioning a structural integrity report. So to this effect, Deputy M. Chirwa was contracted in November 2023 to produce a structural integrity report. While the structural integrity report was being produced, negotiations commenced in I think around the same time in September, where a price of 42 billion was agreed. However, subsequent communications, the seller, through their advisor, wrote the fund requesting a 30% upward adjustment, citing devaluation, and the fund rejected this request and advised the investment manager to communicate the same to the seller. So just to provide the actual dates that the communication for adjustments happened, these have been attached. So the seller wrote Nico Asset Managers on 20th November 2023 for the adjustment, and the investment manager wrote to us on 13th November 2023, and we responded on 5th December 2023, advising them that the fund did not accept the request to adjust the price upwards. So in January 2024, that is 17th January 2024, an extraordinary meeting was called upon by the board chair. So in this meeting, the principal officer presented a letter from NAM dated 19th December 2023, which communicated to the fund that the investment manager was withdrawing its recommendation to invest in Amaris Hotel, citing insufficient technical review for such a significant investment to provide the required assurance that it is the best interest of the fund. They also cited lack of due diligence by an industry expert and absence of a strategic partner and identified operator. I think in the submission, I think the letters have been provided. So it was reported that in the meeting, that during the previous meeting that the fund had met with NAM, they had offered to reimburse costs incurred in pursuing the transaction. So the chairperson of the board had requested that a business and operational risk assessment report, which NAM was referencing as what had led to the advice that was given, that it should be provided to the fund for us to appreciate the reasoning behind their withdrawal. Subsequently, at that meeting, the board resolved not to proceed with the investment and to claim 35,250,755 from ANAM for cost incurred. So at that, it was later learned that the legal fees, I think you've, just to bring you back to what has been put on record in the proceedings, that 85 million was refunded to the fund. So the legal services that we procured night and night, they had charged the fund 50 million. But at the time that this was transpiring, that money had not yet been paid to the lawyers. So when NAM is refunding 85 million, they paid after to the lawyer. So the fund at that time had not incurred this cost. So the cost that was incurred by the fund, which was 35.2 million, we communicated on 12th February 2024 of the fund's decision to withdraw, and also to request for a refund of what we refer to as sunk cost, because it was the general feeling that we had spent money to pursue an investment which we would not go into, and that money would not be recovered if NAM does not refund to us, because the expectation of spending money towards an investment is after that investment starts earning money, you are also earning back the money that you have spent. So in that line, that is the reasoning why we claimed the money from NAM. To the comfort of the committee, I have a proof of payment that the funds were refunded to the fund. So, just to note that the resolution that was made in this meeting has been provided, and it was signed by the board chair and the chair of investment. So I would like to just briefly explain the situation surrounding the minutes for this meeting. So the Secretariat drafted the minutes and they were sent to the principal officer on 23rd January 2024 for his vetting and approval before submission to the board. Subsequently, the minutes were referred to the legal services manager, who drafts resolutions, for her to draft the resolution that was signed by the chair and the investment chairperson. So it should be, at this point, we should note that the Secretariat we were considering an oversight in having the failed minutes signed after they were approved by the board. As such, when we were requested to provide the minutes when ACB was looking for documentation, we presented the minutes to the board chair, James Dyer, to confirm that the version, the minutes that were submitted to him were a fair representation of the meeting, and he affirmed and signed the minutes. And we also presented the same to the principal officer, who is on record as the secretary to the board in the minutes, for him to also sign. And these minutes were then presented to the acting principal officer for submission to ACB. So as I indicated earlier, that on 12th February 2024, we communicated to NAM on the board's decision to withdraw from the investment, and also we communicated for them to relay the same to Yusuf Investment Limited, which the manager did accordingly. With regard to the sale and share subscription agreement that was drafted by Night and Night, the fund at this point had not received a copy of the draft sale agreement, and also subsequently we requested copies of correspondence between NAM and Yusuf Limited, just to point that we never spoke directly to Yusuf Investment Limited. Our communication went through the investment manager, so we would write the investment manager our decisions, and then the investment manager would then relay those information to the seller. So at this point, I would like to refer to engagements with the fund and OPC. So in March 2024, it was reported the OPC summoned the board chairperson and the PO to appear at a meeting where they were required to explain why the fund had declined the investment in Amaris Hotel. So accordingly, this as reported by the principal officer to the third ordinary board meeting, the principal officer, George Jim, and the chairperson of the investment committee, Mr. Boyd Hamera, attended the meeting with OPC. As reference to, we have an attachment that reads report of the meeting between PSPTF and the Office of President and Cabinet held on 6th March 2024. So this report was provided to us by the principal officer, George Jim. So when the content of the meeting was reported to the board reaffirmed its decision, citing reliance on NAM's professional advice and further resolved to maintain the status quo, that is, to not proceed with the investment. Moving on to Continental Asset Managers' involvement in the process. So in May 2024, CAM approached the fund after being engaged by Amaris financial advisor, Cedar Capital. NAM requested transaction details, which they used to evaluate the investment. So this was presented to the board during the 26th committee meeting and the subsequent ordinary board meeting. However, during that meeting, the board directed them to conduct their own independent analysis. So while pursuing this, the Continental Asset Managers wrote the fund requesting for them to act as lead advisor, which was rejected because there were certain costs that were associated to us appointing them as lead advisor. And at that time, it was our advice that since Continental Asset Managers receives management fees as investment manager, and we felt that this function falls under those management services that they're already providing to the fund. So that marked the decision, that marked the end of the issue on Amarylis, because when that proposal was submitted to the 9th Extraordinary Investment Meeting on 10th October 2024, the committee recommended that we should inform CAM that we would not appoint them as lead advisor, and that's ended their involvement. And any involvement, any mention of the investment at the fund. So in the same month, October, on 9th October, prior to this meeting, we, the Secretariat, the Planning and Investments Division to be precise, wrote a review of the investment. I think at that time we were reviewing the lead mandate proposal and also the overall portfolio in relation to the Amaris investment. In that report, we highlighted the following, that the fund's hospitality exposure at that time was 72 billion, which was 17% of total portfolio of 407 billion. So given industry risks, we felt that further exposure would be deemed imprudent. We cited lack of diversification. The hotel is situated in Blantyre, and you might be aware that the fund is also constructing a hotel in Blantyre, and the distance between those hotels is not much, and we thought the situation of the hotel being near the other hotel raised concerns about business risk and concentration risks. And we also cited the existing commitments that the fund had already. So the fund had already invested in Sigelege, which is now a lifestyle boutique hotel, whose performance was still under review. And without an in-house expertise in hotel management, the fund should adopt a cautious wait-and-see approach. We cited unaccounted cost, that several transaction-related costs were omitted in the various reviews that were done, which could significantly impact projected returns. And we also cited the payback period, the 36-year payback period, that was not what was targeted in the industry. Normally, payback period in the hotel industry is 10 to 15 years, and so we thought that 36 years is too long a time for payback period. And just to speak to the 36-year payback period, when comparing the fund's liability distribution, there was a mismatch. While a majority of members, that was 81%, over 20 years from retirement, a significant 18.4% of liabilities will fall due within 20 years. So a 36-year payback period means investment would not generate adequate returns within the time horizon, when nearly 1/5 of the obligations are due to be made. This creates a duration mismatch where capital is locked into an illiquid asset that matures far beyond the fund's liability needs, thereby increasing liquidity and solvency risk. And we also noted that the long payback period is not only commercially unattractive, but also fundamentally is misaligned with the fund liability structure. Pension funds must invest with due consideration for when benefits will be payable. And committing resources to a hotel that would require 36 years to recover investment costs exposes members to undue risk, particularly given that the funds already had heavy exposure to the hospitality sector, and a similar investment was being undertaken 2 kilometers away, effectively multiplying the fund's risk of concentration in the same sector. We also considered member interest. It was deemed negligent to expand hospitality exposure without a comprehensive assessment of current investments and returns. So the Planning and Investment Department recommended that an actuarial assessment should be done on the fund's exposure to the hospitality sector before completing any further undertaking in the hospitality sector by the fund. I'm going to speak to legal exposure. So following the communication from NAM, I think after NAM communicated to use of investment that the fund had rescinded its decision to invest, and that the transaction would no longer proceed. I think I noted that in May, YSL through Cedar Capital engaged CAM. So there was an implied knowledge that the fund only makes its investment through investment managers, hence YSL going to CAM. So when CAM brought this proposal back to the fund and it was ultimately not granted, the matter was considered closed. On 19th November 2024, Yusuf Investment Limited wrote the fund. It should be noted here that the fund received this communication in May 2025. In that letter, Yusuf Investment Limited expresses its desire to conclude the investment. However, at that time, the board had already directed the withdrawal of the offer. No agreement had been seen or signed by the fund, and that the offer that YIL was referring to was non-binding, as buyers reserved the right to withdraw from a transaction. Throughout this process, the fund consistently acted to safeguard the member interest, relying on professional advice, as we've already noted, of its investment manager. So I'll pivot a little bit to talk about the transition from the old board to the new board before I proceed with the matters from Yusuf Investment Limited. The tenure of the previous board was due to expire in September 2024. So in anticipation of this transaction, recruitment process for the third cohort Board of Trustees commenced in June 2024 to ensure continuity in the governance and oversight of the fund. This exercise was completed, and on 19th December 2024, the new trustees were licensed, and the fund organized an orientation program in Salima for the incoming Board of Trustees, and they also undertook an induction in South Africa. Following the licensing of the third cohort Board of Trustees, the Secretary to the Office of President and Cabinet wrote to the fund, raising concerns regarding the manner in which the recruitment process was conducted. Specifically, the OPC sought clarification on why their nominees had not been licensed as part of the newly constituted board. In response, the fund was required to submit a detailed report on the recruitment process, which the Secretariat complied. We compiled and submitted the required report, providing a comprehensive account of how the process was undertaken. Notwithstanding the fund's response, the OPC communicated that it did not recognize the newly licensed trustees representing the employer. The OPC directed that the board be dissolved, relying on clause 10.3 of the trust deed, which states that each trustee shall be appointed and may be removed by the employer pursuant only to an instrument in writing, except a trustee appointed pursuant to a nomination of the member, who may be removed only in accordance with Article 12 hereof, a copy of which instrument certified by the Registrar of Financial Services shall be sufficient evidence thereof. In light of this directive and the uncertainty surrounding the governance of the fund sought guidance from the Reserve Bank of Malawi in its capacity as the fund's regulator to obtain direction on the appropriate course of action going forward. On 12th May 2025 and 2nd June 2025, OPC submitted 2 letters of their nominees through their legal counsel, Mr. Kizaso Nyirongo. The letter we have the submission of those letters, and then those nominations were licensed by the Reserve Bank on 15th July 2025. So orientation, we did a reorientation of all the members on 4th to 5th September 2025, during which all fund service providers, the providers I mentioned at the beginning, including the regulator, attended that orientation and made presentations on what they do and the responsibilities of the Board of Trustees. Now I'm going to come back to the fund's communication with Yusuf Limited. So following us receiving the letter from Yusuf, on 19th May 2025, the fund wrote, so this is the principal officer, wrote to Yusuf Investment Limited in response to its letter dated 19th November 2024, stating that it did not have a constituted board of trustees in place to provide a formal response to transactional issues. In a further effort to clarify its position, the PO wrote again to Yusuf Investment Limited on 26th May 2025, requesting a meeting to better explain the status of the purported transaction. So at that meeting, the meeting that happened between the fund, this is the principal officer and myself, Yusuf Investment Limited, and we had also invited NAM because NAM had knowledge of the transaction and even the end of that transaction to that meeting. So in that meeting, Yusuf Investment Limited demanded timelines for the fund to proceed with the investment. So we explained that we did not have a board of trustees to make decisions on the investment, and we also explained further that the fund invests through its investment managers who solicit proposals, present those proposals after review to the fund, where they recommend if the proposals should be taken on board or not. And when the board makes a decision to proceed with the investment, the whole process is facilitated by that investment manager. So we made that presentation to Yusuf Investment Limited. In that meeting, they demanded for us to make commitments according to timelines, and we did not commit to timelines pertaining to the board of trustees because at that time it was when the other board of trustees that was licensed in December 2024 was dissolved, and we were waiting for communication from OPC to provide new members from the employer side. So on 25th September 2025, Yusuf Investment Limited wrote to the fund again requesting an agent update on the Amaris equity transaction. So in that correspondence, YIL made reference to two commitment letters dated 7th and 18th March 2025. The fund responded on 29th September advising that a board had since been reconstituted, though it was yet to convene its inaugural meeting. So now we go back to where the fund has been reconstituted. The current, the board has been reconstituted, the current board. The investment committee sat on 2nd and 3rd October 2025. So during that meeting, the chairperson of the committee tabled letters that he had received from Yusuf Investment Limited. As I indicated, these letters alluded to communication between the fund and YIL, in which the fund was committing to finalizing the transaction. During that meeting, the principal officer indicated that he was not aware of those letters. The Secretariat was asked to present to the new board what had transpired. So we provided a report, the same report that I have provided, detailing everything that had happened since NAM presented the investment to the fund and the resolution to withdraw that the previous board had done. So the committees resolved to recommend to the board to reaffirm the previous decision because at that time the fund had not received any new assessment of the investment or a recommendation or professional advice that would support the fund to proceed with the investment. In the letters that YIL had wrote to the fund, they had mentioned that they would proceed with litigation. So that question of possible litigation was referred to the Governance and Legal Committee that was sitting after the investment committee had met. So just to also note that on 6th October 2025, YIL also sent a letter where they also retaliated by ascertaining their legal rights that they would proceed to litigation. And as I stated, this was also presented to the to Governance and Legal Committee. At the request of the Investment Committee, the Legal Services Division, which is the Legal Services Manager, prepared a legal opinion on the implications of a withdrawal from the purported transaction between the fund and Yusuf Investment Limited. So this opinion was presented at the Governance and Legal Committee on 8th October 2025 for consideration. The meeting concluded, the legal opinion concluded that there was no legal binding agreement in existence between the fund and Yusuf Investment Limited, thereby providing a basis for the fund to consider its position with respect to the transaction. In addition to the internal legal opinion, the legal services manager was advised that external counsel be engaged to prepare an independent second opinion on the matter. So from that resolution, a second independent legal opinion was sought from Likongwe and Co. and Company, and they submitted their legal opinion on 20th October 2025. The external counsel's findings were consistent with the position that the legal services manager had taken, sharing similar sentiments regarding the absence of a binding agreement between the fund and YIL. Likongwe and Company, the recommendation was that the letters sent by the fund to Yusuf Investment Limited do not constitute a commitment and that the fund can safely exit the sale. In the event that Yusuf Investment Limited were to commence litigation, the firm advised that given that there was no sale agreement signed and that no contract had been formed, the fund would be able to mount a defense. Likongwe and Company assessed the fund's prospects of a success at 80 to 20 ratio in the fund's favor. And they also advised that in the event that the fund would lose, potential penalties would be limited to either payment of legal fees in circumstances where YSL would prove that they had sold the hotel to a third party at a lower price. The difference between the price that we had previously agreed to and one that Amarylis would be sold at, the courts might direct that the fund compensate Yusuf Investment Limited. So both internal and external legal opinions were shared with the board for his appraisal of the legal implications. On 24th to 25th October 2025, the chairperson of the board of trustees called a meeting of trustees, and that meeting resolved to finalize subscription to the sale of Amaris Hotel. Following that resolution that was made, the chairperson of investment committee called a meeting on 27th October 2025, which is termed 10th Extraordinary Investment Committee meeting, where that resolution that was drafted and signed by the board chairperson of the board was presented to the investment committee members and secretariat who sit in that meeting. During that meeting, we informed the committee that for the fund to proceed with an investment, it needs to be anchored by an investment manager whose mandate is to provide professional investment advice and make recommendations as prescribed in investment policy statement, specifically section 3.37, subsection 7, prohibited investments, point number 2. I can just read just give me a moment to just look at the investment policy and then read the section that we referred to.
Proceed, don't worry, relax, because you've been talking for some time, so yeah, don't worry. You may have water on a parliament bill. Can you check on page 16, 17 of your investment policy? Page 17. Are you there? Yes. Kindly proceed.
Prohibited investments. So point number 2, direct investments shall not be permitted in unquoted equities, venture capital funds, or collective investment schemes without a thorough assessment and recommendation by the investment manager and the prior written approval of the trustees. So just to note the point of unquoted equities, so the subscription that came was for 100% subscription, which was an equity sale, and this is unquoted equity because it's not a company that is listed on the Malawi Stock Exchange. So hence this provision was pointed out and highlighted to the investment committee members. So in that meeting, we further noted that the engagement of third-party consultants, the ones who would review the investment, would be required, and that there was no investment manager in place to anchor and facilitate this process. We also raised concerns citing certain governance issues that we had observed in drafting the board resolution that was presented. So just to note that normally a board would sit, investment meetings would be drafted by the Secretariat, and the legal services manager would draft the resolution. The resolution is supposed to be signed by two people, the board chair, and it normally it's also signed by the chair of the committee where that issue is falling under. And hence, you will note that the resolution that was presented before on 17th January, for leading from the 17th January meeting, was signed by the chair of the board and the investment chair. But this resolution that was presented to us was only signed by the board chair, and it had also been drafted by him. So we pointed out that that was an anomaly. And we advised that a revised resolution be drafted by the legal services manager and then signed by appropriate parties. So moving on 30th October 2025, the acting principal officer directed me, the planning investment manager, to draft a request for an independent qualified investment analyst to advise the fund. Communication via email. So this direction was given via email, and in that email I indicated the lack of an investment manager to anchor the investment. I also noted the issues with the resolution that was drafted, and I was advised that it was not in our place as Secretariat to question the board, and that we should just execute the direction that we're given. And I was instructed to sign that request. So I drafted a request going to the acting principal officer, requisitioning an independent qualified investment analyst. I qualified in that request for us to have an independent qualified investment analyst who would advise. And I had noted that 2 hours need to be developed towards this service. And I was told that 2 hours were already drafted, and these 2 hours were already submitted to procurement to proceed. And so when I presented that request, the principal officer signed the request approving for us to proceed with the procurement of an independent qualified investment analyst. So at that time, I had not reviewed, so I should say the planning and investment division had not seen or reviewed those 2 hours prior to submission to procurement, and they were only submitted to us for information. The procurement process was conducted by the procurement section. So briefly, allow me to ask Mr. Ntambo to provide a record, to provide on record the proceedings that proceeded with that procurement before I continue, because we were not involved in any of the procurement processes that were undertaken after presenting that request to procure a qualified independent investment analyst. Thank you, Chair.
You can switch off the mic. Thank you so much for that detailed presentation. Mr. Ntambo, welcome to Parliament.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Honorable Chair and the Honorable Committee.
Mr. Ntambo, welcome. or come to Parliament. You may proceed to make your presentation. Over to you, Procurement Officer.
Thank you, Chair. My presentation is brief. As the Planning and Investment Manager has alluded to already, the Procurement and Disposal Unit received an approved request and other relevant correspondences for the procurement of consultancy services to carry out independent investment analysis for the Amarylis transaction. That request was generated from the Planning and Investment Division, and it was approved by the Acting Principal Officer. And the approval was also mentioning that this procurement is urgent. When we received that bid solicitation was done, we prepared a bid solicitation document, and we referred from the PPDA supplier database so that we can get some consultants to contact them. Some were responsive, some not, but fortunately, we had to get 2 consultants. This one was KCM Consulting and EMJ Advisory Public Accountants. Honorable Chair, that was on 30th October 2025. On 3rd November 2025, this was the bid closing date, and the bids were opened at the PSPTF offices in the conference room, and the bid opening was chaired by the accountant, who is a member of the IPDC. The other members who participated in the bid opening were as follows. Number 1, the assistant accountant. Number 2, HR and administration officer. Number 3, an accountant.
Mr. Tambo,
yes.
Relax. Honourable members are taking names because we want to know. Because now we're getting to substantive issues. So take your time. Give us the names.
Osaiwala kupanga subscribe ku channel ya AMTV Malawi.